Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Today I'm going to be cleaning up the little drill press that I got. I'll see if I can get the thing cleaned up and ready to use, get some of that glue off, that little white thing that's been glued on there for so long. So that's going to be the project for today. There. Now this thing is glued on there, and I'm not sure. Oh, not that strongly. Cool. Most of it came right off with the top surface. I'm sure somebody had that in there for a project that they were doing. And I am pleased that it comes off quite so easily. Not effortlessly. This stuff is called Goof Off, so we're going to try some of that. Put on a little. And let it soak. There. And I don't think I'm going to disassemble this because it has a spring in it, and chances are it's a coil spring inside there, but I am going to lubricate it. Now, it's not that I'm concerned about the look in my shop, because, quite frankly, everything in here is either rusty or dusty or dirty. But it is nice to have any problems not be related to dirt, because dirt is such an easy thing to fix. You just clean it off. So when I'm doing my initial inspection and getting ready to do anything with this, it's nice to have it clean. And chances are this has spent most of its life in a dusty corner where somebody bought it and said, oh, that won't work. That's how things end up at old Sneelock's workshop. Somebody says, oh, it won't work. I see if I can find out the failure in their process in hopes to make things better. Now this is plastic and die-cast aluminum. Might be die-cast zinc, but more chances are it's die-cast aluminum. And since it's got a rack gear, which is pretty much standard for any quill, they tend to get dirty and sticky. We'll loosen up the gib just a slight amount. There we go, now we got full travel. Okay, that's all cleaned up. Wipe off some of this excess so it's not on everything. Probably should get a gallon bucket of that 336 and then I can just dip stuff in it. Of course that's going to be wasteful. But so are spray cans. Spray cans are expensive. You're paying for compressed gas to pump it out. It's nice to be able to aim it at something and spray it in. Won't fault it for that. But it does tend to spray stuff in places you don't need it, and then you end up wiping off the excess, and the excess ends up in the rag instead of in the places you want it to be. Kind of like spray painting. You put as much on the thing behind the item you want to put color on as you put on the item itself. Okay, nice and snug gibs. Free working. That's good. Give this a little squirt of the cleaner stuff. Which I use Grease Lightning. Why? Well, because I bought a whole bunch of bottles of stuff at Menards and tried them all on different things. Grease Lightning doesn't bother paint. It takes off crap. And I don't want to take the paint off, I want to take the dirt off. And it cuts grease and takes off paint, or cuts grease and takes off dirt really well, but it doesn't take the paint off. might need to have that come off of there. There. Now it'll slide freely up and down, which is what I was after. Because this is how you adjust it. This little nut here is supposed to catch on the flat, but there's enough clearance in there that it comes loose. So I might need to put some stuff on there, some stickum, to hold that nut in place, but we'll see. We'll give it a chance first before I go making modifications to it. This stuff had a chance to soak, but it looks like most of it just dried off. That's coming loose. It's working pretty good. It's going to take several applications of this stuff to make it actually do what I want it to. And that was the original goal, was just to get the glue off. And it's not taking the paint off. Scraping was working, but I was going to be down into the aluminum before I got anything really clean. This is doing a little damage to the paint. Could be that the glue is so well stuck to the paint, because it does seem to be fairly good glue. It acts like rubber cement. Rubber cement is very sticky. So it could be sticking to the paint enough that it's actually tearing the paint loose, just me rubbing on it. That one spot here has got an excess of the cement on it. Don't know what the active ingredient in this professional strength goof off is. It says petroleum distillates, so it could be anything. But it does seem to work pretty well. And I'm sure they glued that on there because they were trying to drill a very small hole in a tiny part. And they didn't want to have this big gap there. And that's understandable. Besides which, it belonged to them. They get to do anything they want to it when they own it. That's what I try and remember when I'm working on these things. It may make it difficult to make it do what I want, but I bought it with knowing what the condition was, so I have no right to complain. drop that down in there where it goes. And tighten up the screw. The dirt is off. This is a nice feature. It lets me adjust it in and out, also at an angle, so I can drill angled holes. So I can use this to slide the shaft out and gain distance from the post. That's a nice feature. Also, with this design, you can turn this around, drop that down, clamp this in place on top of whatever you're drilling, and you can drill in the center of a large surface. Or take it back and use the table like a normal drill press. I like being able to do that. These two screws, press on a little metal bar in there, and that closes up the distance in that dovetail. The little metal bar is called a gib, and you can adjust the gib by tightening or loosening those screws. If it doesn't want to move easily, you loosen them. If it doesn't stay in one place or it rattles back and forth, then you tighten them up a little bit. You want to get all the shake out of it while it still moves. I think that's more than adequate. One last thing to clean up. Set that over there out of the way. This appears to be the dirtiest of the whole thing. So we'll disassemble it and clean the pieces. These parts are plastic, so I have to be careful. Oh, and I can see something that somebody made a mistake on. Yeah, that's supposed to be like that. I see. Just my misunderstanding. Since I'm not using the goop off, I can do this with my bare hands because the grease lightning doesn't bother me. After many years of working on engines and cleaning parts with mineral spirits, I developed not really an allergy, but a sensitivity to mineral spirits. So I try and avoid anything with petroleum distillates in it. On my bare skin. When I was a kid, cleaning engines and carburetors and multitudes of many items, I would clean everything in gasoline. And then I developed a situation where I became irritated with gasoline, so I switched to mineral spirits, because it's not quite as intense as gasoline. And then of course that worked out so that I ended up with a problem with mineral spirits. So now I wear rubber gloves. .336 doesn't seem to bother me, but I still wear rubber gloves when I'm working with it because it's got petroleum distillates in it. Well, that's good. Run that nut down there to make sure I got it. Ah, there's a sticky spot right there. Use this brass wire brush and clean those threads because it's not stiff enough to damage the threads, but it's stiff enough to clean the dirt out of the little valleys in the threads. There we go. Now it runs all the way up and down. This is a stop. That little brass nut down there controls where the rod sits. Then this controls how far down it can go. Drop that down further. That you control the depth of cut. And this stops how far up it goes. These lock the Dremel tool, or in this case, Craftsman tool, in place. Well, now we have the drill press cleaned up, I have to mount the drill in it. So that's going to be a little time trying to figure out how to do that. And then we'll give it a test, see what happens. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.